So our genetic mix here is Shorthorn and Angus, and I alternate bulls. So right now we have a Shorthorn bull in the pasture. The Angus bull is the daddy for all of these babies. These are all spring calves. They were born probably April, May. There are two paddocks here in our rotation. There is a line that generally goes from the dilapidated shed over to the woods. So when we're rotating it first, we get really good growth down at the bottom of that hill. So we hold them in there and try and make them eat a little much. I know that story, make them clean up. Then we would be in the second block here. We didn't get a lot of rain the last couple of months. It was very hot, so the grass is more or less shut off. And right now they're sitting in these two blocks, and I've been bale feeding for probably 3 weeks or so. So they'll get 2 or 3 bales out here. Generally, I've gone across this ridge here. Nutrients flow downhill, so I'm bale grazing across the top ridge. And I've got 2 or 3 bales in here for them today.
Folks, if you look at the hair coat on this black cow looking at us right here in front, she's got a really nice hair coat. It's nice and slick. She's not holding on to any of the winter hair coat at all. If you look 2 cows over, that red one, 13K, she's got a little winter hair coat left kind of on top of her back. And it could be because she's younger. I'm guessing that's first calf. So when you have a first calf heifer, she's trying to raise a calf. She's trying to get bred back and put on weight. And the last place they put energy is in hair. Okay, so always remember, your calves are never going to shed off like your cows are because they're still growing. Okay, this cow, the thymus gland right here, I'm going to use you as an example. Right here on the side of her neck, it's real shiny, and the one right beside her's got a real shiny thymus gland. When those real shiny, it looks like a mirror looking at you. That's telling you that cow is performing 100%. She's going to breed back. She's got good body condition on her, and she's going to winter well. The red cow behind her shows a little bit more bone back toward the back. Yeah. Folks, if you can get a nice fat tail head on your cow in September or October, they're going to winter well. They're not going to eat as much. It's hard to get weight on a cow when you hit cold weather because they're just trying to stay warm. They don't have any extra energy to put on fat.
What's a tail head?
The tail head is right where it comes off the butt at the back. Right where the tailbone is, that's the tail head. And folks, that's the last place that the fat will be laid down on a grass-finished animal. You want 3 wrinkles in that tail head. You could eat her. Look at it. We're not going to eat her, Mr. Thompson.
Oh, she heard that.
Shakes her head.
Yeah.
Stick around.
In relation to some of these red cows, you look at the tail head on them, they're not packing the fat. Okay?
Yeah.
So you can tell they're just younger cows. Folks, you want to look for the death triangle on your cattle. What am I talking about?
Left side?
The left side. How do you know if it's the left side or not? If you're looking at it or if you're standing behind it?
Standing behind it.
Standing behind it. I like the police got sharp. If you're riding it. Remember that for the old y'all go home. Which side did Greg say? It's when you're riding, it's the left side. So when you move your animals, if you're on rotation, you're moving them, always position your body, open the gate, and get over here and let them walk by in front of you. And you can tell how good a job or how big of an area you gave them. Maybe you limited them. When you start looking at their size, it's going to be shrunken in right on the pin bone. Can you go up there and touch one of those cows? You might be able to.
That changed
That the bone right there by the right there. Yep. That's fine. No, you showed it, folks. The red cows have got a little bit of a shrunken in spot. Now this cow looking at us is she's got a death triangle. No, it's on the wrong side. It's on her right side. You can't tell anything by looking at the right side because that's the way the rumen is laid in that cow. So this red cow looking away from us right here by these black calves, she's got her head down. She's pretty good. I mean, she could use a little bit more feed, but they've got it. He put it out here. We probably interrupted their feeding. But I'm watching for that bone. It's right in front of that bone. It's going to be sunken in the depth of a cereal bowl. If you continue to rotate your animals through the summer and they've always got a death triangle on them, they're not going to breed back. those are the cows that are going to get too thin, and they're not going to even cycle. Folks, when the pH on the urine, I measure the pH on my cows occasionally. I keep pH paper. I've got some in my briefcase in the car. If y'all remind me, maybe we can bring that on our pasture. We'll be around cattle in a second. Yeah. I hope I got it. I might have taken it out. Anyway, the pH paper, you just reach out and you touch the grass where they peed on. You want that pH to be in the 7s. Once it goes to 9, they will not cycle. Now, how do you get it off of 9 and get it back to 7? Without feeding grain. How do you do it?
More energy.
More energy, so give them higher selection. Give them a larger paddock and move them more sooner, okay? If they're taking it all down like this on every paddock, they're taking it too short, you're probably not getting enough energy in your animals. Think about this a minute. We haven't wormed a cow in 30 years. No calves and no sheep. So the parasites live.
His hair shoot
The parasites live down here, where my bottom finger is. They're not up here on the tips of the grass, because parasites can't take sunlight. It cooks them. And so all your parasites that are infecting your cows are down here. So when you make your cows graze really short, they're ingesting parasites. And they're gonna have a runny tail, the calves aren't gonna put on weight real good, and then you gotta pull out the Ivomec, and you gotta pour Ivomec down their back to get rid of the parasites, and then your cow manure doesn't break down. And you killed your dung beetles. Dung beetles, it absolutely hammers them. On Villanuva's farm, he had hundreds of dwellers. The little dung beetles, the ones that live in the manure pat. There was hundreds of them that he never worms. We were on a farm later, on another farm walk, and I could not find a single dweller in any of his manure pats. But he was worming spring and he's worming them in the fall. He'd already wormed them. And so when you do that, just remember this, folks, the most valuable asset, literally, oh, you got worms. Look at that, that's a good one. Get him. Oh, there he is. I don't want to break him in two. Good job, Mr. Thompson. Look at that. All right. Folks, the most valuable asset is the manure pile. They poop 4 times a day. And if they're pooping, and it's a toxic time bomb, because you've poisoned it, it's not going to grow you any grass. The worms are not going to take it back into the soil profile. Did you know a wormhole stays in the ground for 30 years? Yep, worm tunnels stay in the ground for 30 years. Now think about that. You get a rain, he's not going to be giving his rain to the neighbor down here. It's going to go in them wormholes and hold it on the land. So folks, it's not a matter of how much rain you get, how much rain do you keep? It's all biology.
Greg, what's your thought about chain harrow?
Chain harrow, if you don't have good soil biology, it is a way to spread it out. We don't chain harrow anything, because what I have found is I really make my worms mad. Because you busted it up now in these little bitty chunks, and the worms, they like a nice juicy one. Because see, a worm has a mucus covering on his skin. He can't get dry. If he's dry, he's dead. So they like to go in that manure pond, just devour them. They just devour them. Our manure pats are gone in about 2 to 3 weeks. Done. Our rotation is 4 to 8 weeks, so when we come back, they're gone.
What about springtime harrowing?
No. You don't want to be harrowing, folks. You're getting an implement out on your farm. You're compressing the soil. Keep your tractors off your paddocks. I won't even let anybody drive a pickup on my land. You're going to walk. You come to my farm, you're going to walk. Or we'll get on an ATV. I'll let you get on an ATV because they got flotation tires, but don't be driving a pickup across my land. That's the way to get me really fired up.
That's a simple question. I have terrible pronouncing words. Aerating. Fixing the holes.
Yes, aerating. Yep.
What's your thoughts on that?
It's a waste of time if you got good soil biology. He brought up that question earlier, aerating your soil. Folks, when you put 1,000 head, well, let's say our herd, we got 400 head, and we put them on an acre. Did we compact that soil?
Depends how long you leave it.
Exactly. You're good. It depends how long you leave them. It's not a matter of fact of how many animals was there. It's how long were they there. So we can really chew up a pasture on accident. So we'll have them in an area and it rains that night. And what do cows do when it rains? They all get together and they circle, and they'll just chew it up. But you'll come back to that paddock in 60 days. It's like walking on peat moss. It's fluffy because we have so much animal life down in our soil. So, yeah, just keep the equipment off your land and go build some fence. Move them. Keep them moving.
Do you ever have to clip?
The question is, do we have to clip? Only on certain farms where we have landowners that are townies. They want it to look like their yard. We better clip that at least once a summer. If we don't, the weeds and the brush get away from us. And now they're going to go, Greg, you're taking advantage of us. Our farms look like that. And so we have to do that for, for appearance. We don't clip all of our farms, just some.
How do you do that without a tractor?
I have a tractor.
So you go on your pasture with a tractor?
I do. Only in the summertime when it's hot and dry. I don't go out there in the spring and try and harrow when it's wet. Keep your pastures free of equipment when it's wet.
What about if it's fallow field just starting on? You cut the goldenrod after you pasture the animals?
If it's fallow farm that you're just starting on, I would clip behind the cattle, not in front of them. Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah. 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 No, his calves look good. They're pretty uniform. I look at the calf crop, and if I've got a cow in there that gives me a dink, in other words, a dinky calf that doesn't match up to the rest of them, maybe it has a rougher hair coat, it's kind of built kind of feminine looking and just doesn't have much growth, I'm going to track that calf down and find out the ear tag number on her cow, and that's when we call. Because if you keep it, she's probably going to do it to you again. And those are nice calves. Those are going to turn into some pretty nice beef for him.
Can you tell a sheep's eating enough the same way as you can a cow?
Can we tell if sheep is eating enough just like a cow? Yep, it's the same deal. Yeah, it's a little harder to tell with the wool on them. We run hair sheep, St. Croix, Katahdin Cross. It's a lot easier to tell when you're a limited one, but a wool sheep is hard to tell. I think most of your sheep here is wool, isn't it, in Nova Scotia?
There's some Katahdins.
Is there some Katahdins? Okay. Yeah. Let's go up on top of the hill where he hasn't grazed yet. I'm going to see what they're going to be going into.